Group B in the Dominic Smith Electrical Senior Football Championship is very, very tight. The team at the top are Castletown, and they have 5 points. And at the foot of the table are their local rivals, Kilanerin, and they have 3 points. And we saw from the weekend that top played bottom, and it was a very, very tight affair, and really, really sums up the group here, John. It's like, as you can see, like there are 4 teams there on 4 points, and this whole group could really go anyway.
Yeah, it's remarkable because at the start of the year you would have said that Kilanerin and Castletown not only would have been favourites for this group, but would have been two, maybe along with Shells and Gusran, as the real contenders, and it just simply hasn't panned out like that at all. And it's this group and the standing and the results that have been in the group is a reflection of how even and how open this championship is. And right now, not only would you be hard pressed to pick winners of the overall championship, but how this group is going to finish up is anybody's guess.
Yeah, and we know that Castletown are actually through, but they could finish anywhere from 1st to 4th. And Kilanerin, as I said, are at the foot of the table, and they could finish anywhere probably from 2nd to 6th. So, and all the other teams could finish anywhere in between. The first game we're going to discuss is Castletown and the Starlights. Starlights are on 4 points. They have 2 victories, and Castletown are on 5 points. They have 2 victories and a draw. What way do you see this one going, John?
Well, it's a repeat of the final from a couple of years ago, but with quite different teams, I suppose, and in different form. Castletown have been slowly motoring away, but not anything like hitting the highlights that they would have over the last couple of years. Now, I'm sure they'll be okay with that because there's no championships won, early in the season. I thought last week that there were encouraging signs. Dara Brooks was back kicking well. Jack Higgins is back from his appendix, and Jonathan Beelan was looking like he was starting to hit a bit of form. They're 3 players that will be crucial for Castletown from here on into the championship. But at the same time, there wasn't the same caution, there wasn't the same aggression that you would associate with a good championship performance from Castletown. On the other side of it, Starlights have been up and down. Like they deservedly beat Glynn last week, and they'll take huge confidence from that because when they get their act together, they're capable of beating anybody. The trouble is that there hasn't been the same consistency with them throughout all of their games. And this time last week, you would have said that they were looking like one of the potential bottom 2. But at this stage now, that one result can change things around entirely. And they'll be going in with no fear of Castletown. They've beaten them in the recent past, and like when the townies get confidence up, God only knows what happens then.
Yeah, it's very difficult to predict this. Castletown, of course, missing a few players. Danny Gardner's out. Rory Heffern didn't play at the weekend. Donica Holmes didn't play at the weekend. And someone remarked to me that the last time they won the championship, they only used 17 players, and that's 3 of them gone. And they're going to be relying on a few younger guys, I suppose, to step up to the mark, as are the Starlights for that matter. They're missing a lot of lads from their strongest available panels as well, we'll say.
But I suppose coming back to last weekend, when you have the 2 peppers, Alan Tobin and Kevin Foley, starting to hit form, they're 4 quality players, and there's lots of other lads that will add to that. So Castletown will need to be at their best or close to their best to win this game. But I think last week might have been a wake-up call, and a win there would have meant that everything was comfortable. But you don't want to be going into the quarterfinals, on a loss. And I think in a tight game, I'd see that again the experience that Castletown have maybe getting over the line on this one.
So you're going to go for Castletown, and I'm also going to go for Castletown. I think when push comes to shove, they might be just able to up their game a little bit from last week because they were quite poor. I think it was a dull enough game. They didn't show much bite or energy, but I think they might bring it this weekend to solidify top spot in this group. The second game we're going to discuss is Glynn-Barntown against Crossabeg-Ballymurn. Both sides have 2 wins on the board. Crossabeg have beaten both Castletown and Kilanerin. Glynn-Barntown have got victories over the Starlights and St Anne's, and they've been kind of hot and cold a little bit.
Yeah, like at the start of the year we would have said Kilanerin and Castletown are certainly two of the top contenders, and then Crossabeg turn up and deservedly beat the two of them. But I think what last week's games would have shown is the importance of Mark Byrne to Crossabeg. And Crossabeg at the weekend, they still had lots of possession, they had lots of men to win the ball and carry the ball, but ultimately it's scores win games, and Mark has been in outstanding form and is a real quality forward, and when he wasn't there, that was a big loss. On the other side of things, Joe Hagan has certainly revitalised Glynn this year, and for the first couple of rounds they were really playing with confidence and moving the ball well and moving the ball quickly. And even today against Castletown, they had more possession. I would say they had more chances and more shots at goal than Castletown did, but they just didn't finish them. I think that last week was the one blip I've seen from them in the championship so far. I've been really impressed by the type of football they're trying to play and how they're going about it. Just last week against Starlights, I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say it was a one-off, because they have been good other days, but certainly it wasn't the same quality as been up until now.
So like I suppose it's a hard one to call. Like, if you look at the Crossabeg results of beating Castletown and Kilanerin, you think a team capable of doing that, and then they put in quite a poor performance, I thought, at the weekend against St Anne's. They showed little, I suppose, spark, and they only scored 8 points. So who's going to come away with the honours in this one, John? Yeah,
look, for me, and I hate pinning it on one player, but an awful lot of it will just depend on the availability of Mark Byrne. If he's over his injury and if he's playing, I think in that situation I'd fancy Crossabeg, because they will always have a load of possession and they will win ball and carry ball. But without him, and I don't know how he's fixed, I'm going to go for a narrow Glynn victory in a local derby where nobody will want to give bragging rights to the others. Glynn beat them in the hurling, so I'm going to put Glynn to do a double on them.
Yeah, I'm going to agree as well. I think Glynn, they've been scoring the highest in this group so far. They've put plenty of goals. They've put up plenty of goals, and I think they'll just score more than Crossabeg will at the weekend. So I think they'll get the 2 points there. And the final game we'll discuss is, at the moment, the bottom of the table clash between St Anne's and Kilanerin. St Anne's have had a couple of victories after a couple of very poor performances, and Kilanerin have a draw at the weekend against Castletown. They got a victory over the Starlights, but then were defeated heavily enough by Glenbarton and fairly decisively by Crossabeg.
Yeah, and look, this is a crucial game for Kilanerin particularly. They could never have envisaged themselves being in this position after 4 games, and how they respond will be a big test of character for them. Like, they're a young side, they have got some experience, but it will be a test of character as much as football at the weekend, because certainly St Anne's are the form team. They've won the last 2 games, having started poorly in the championship, and they were impressive at times in how they moved the ball and carried the ball last week. I thought Owen Ryan and Justin Moran were excellent, and when it came down to it, Sean Kelly did what we know Sean Kelly is capable of and kicked a couple of winning scores. So St Anne's, I know it's an easy cliche to throw out about, how they'll be competitive the whole way, but they will, and Kilanerin will need to certainly improve on how they have been at any point in the championship up until now to win. But that being said, they are capable of that, and I thought that the weekend it was encouraging that in the last 5 minutes Kilanerin needed to get a score to level it, and they did, and they didn't go into their shell. When you consider they're without Keane Hughes and Paddy Hughes, who are 2 massive losses, I think it is a credit to the rest of the players who stepped up, but it'll be needed again, and more so at the weekend. So who are you going to go for, John? Kilanerin or St Anne's? I know your heart might be definitely saying which one you want to win, but who do you think will win? Look, I think the need is massive. Football is all that's talked about in Kilanerin. They will be really disappointed with their performances to date, and I think that when it's needed, I'd like to think that there is a big performance in him. Conor Kinsella, Scholesy should be back to full fitness. Jason Bulger was good at the weekend, and they have got young players coming along. There will be nothing easy about it, and like I said, St Anne's will have confidence, and with a couple of weeks football behind them, they're a daunting proposition. But I'm going to go for a narrow Kilanerin victory. Maybe that is just the heart rule in the head, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, I think the game will be close and keenly contested, but I think Kilanerin have greater potential. If they can return to the kind of entertaining, fast-moving football that they played last year that got them so far, I think they will win at the weekend.